Homework 6 is all about absolute value equations, and so I thought that I would just do a general video, or actually a couple of videos so it doesn't get too long, about absolute value and absolute value equations. So these are the topics. There's only 5 of them in Homework 6, and we actually are going to do a page out of my notes for another class. So don't worry about the numbering over here or any of that business. It relates just fine to what you guys are going to be doing for Homework 6. So as a reminder, absolute value means the distance from something to 0. So if I'm talking about absolute value of -3, then that's asking how far away is -3 from 0 on a number line. And if I look at this number line down here, I can count 1, 2, 3 spaces. So it's 3. And of course, if I do absolute value of a positive number, let's say absolute value of 5, if I count how many spaces 5 is from 0, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so that's still positive. So a lot of times you learn just make it positive, but I think if you can remember what it's actually defined to be, that can be helpful in understanding how you deal with absolute values in equations. Okay, so the simplest kind of absolute value equation is when you have absolute value of x equals a number. And if that's the case, then basically it's just going to be the number and the negative of the number. So x inside absolute values could be +4 or it could be -4. And so you always get these two different cases with these absolute value equations. And so here we had absolute value of x equals 4, but let's say we had another one, absolute value of x is equal to, let's say, 6. Then that would mean that x could be 6 or it could be -6. The only time that with a simple equation like this that you would have to be really careful is if you got absolute value of x is equal to a negative number. So let's see, it was -3. That doesn't make any sense. We know that whenever we take the absolute value of something, it's always going to be positive. We would never say something is -3 spaces from 0. So this would be a no solution equation. I'm going to abbreviate by writing the empty set. This circle with the line through it means the empty set. So you always, once you've got your absolute value by itself, check to make sure the number on the other side of the equal sign is positive. If it is, then you're going to just have your two cases where you leave it positive, and the other cases you make it negative. But if not, then you're going to have no solution. Oh, by the way, the only other thing you could have is if you had absolute value of x actually equals 0. Well, if that's the case, then that means you're right on 0, and you're not going to go left or right. You're not going to have two cases. It's only the single answer or solution, x equals 0. So that's the only time you'll get a single solution is if your absolute value is set equal to 0. And so this little in the box, this is just supposed to be kind of a general rule. If it makes sense to you, that's fine. But you can have something more complicated than x inside your absolute values. And as long as it's set equal to a positive number, you just split your problem, your equation, into two different cases. One with the positive number and one with the negative number. So I have it as number 5 here. It's kind of number 1, I guess, for us. Absolute value of 2x minus 1 is equal to 5. 5 is a positive number, so I'm going to get a solution, at least one, and I can split this into two cases. Either 2x minus 1 could be -5, or 2x minus 1 could be +5, and it doesn't matter which one you write first. And now you're going to solve each of these individually. So adding 1 to both sides, I would get 2x equals -4, and then dividing by 2, I'm going to get x equals -2. So that'll be one solution. And then same steps over here, add 1 to both sides, 2x equals 6, divide by 2, x equals 3. So my two solutions would be x equals -2 and +3. And just like with any other equation, you can check your solutions. You can just plug each possible solution in individually wherever you see your variable and make sure it works out. If we plug in -2, we're going to get inside absolute values of -5, but absolute value of -5 is 5. If we plug in +3, then we'll just get +5, and that will work as well.